My dear friend in Christ, before we go into what Jesus speaks against religious hypocrisy, why not think where the phrase face the music originated from? I'm sure you all heard the phrase face the music. Now here's what happened. There was a man who desperately craved for attention and wanted to be staged in the imperial orchestra and impress the king with his presence. But the funny thing is that he had no knowledge of music and could not even play a single note. But since he was wealthy and very influential, he demanded to be allowed to join the orchestra. And with a compromise, the conductor agreed to let him sit in the second row of the orchestra. He was given a flute, and when a concert would begin, he would raise his instrument, pucker his lips, and move his fingers, pretending to be playing. Funny, but he did a wonderful job, pretending in the midst of the galaxy of musicians. He fooled everyone for almost 2 years. Now here's what happened. His hypocrisy was stumped. A new conductor took over the imperial orchestra. He told the orchestra that he wanted to personally audition all the players to see how well they could play. The audition would knock out all those who did not meet his standards, and he would dismiss them from the orchestra. One by one, the players performed in his presence. Now this fake flutist was perturbed, confused, when it was his turn. But his hypocrisy did not leave him. He pretended to be sick to skip the audition. But the doctor who was ordered to examine him, however, declared that he was perfectly well. The conductor insisted that the man appear and demonstrate his skill. Stumped by shame, the man had to confess that he was a fake. That was the day he had to face the music. My dear friend in Christ, now let's go to the Gospels. Jesus was downright and clear when he denounced the Pharisees of his time for their hypocrisy. Read Mark chapter 7. They were so quick in condemning those who broke the religious laws but were deep-seatedly unloving. For Jesus, love was above the law. For them, law was above love. Yes, I'd like to repeat that for you. For Jesus, love was above the law. For them, law was above love. Let's think about our own lives, my dear friend in Christ. We may be regular churchgoers. We could be good worship singers, or composers, or even preachers. We could be saying our prayers regularly and religiously. We may be attending retreats and various prayer services and doing our regular Bible study. But of what good would all this be if a husband or wife doing all this cannot love and forgive each other, or children and parents don't forgive each other, if bosses and subordinates don't accommodate and overlook each other's faults, if church and religious community leaders don't give room for love, for dialogue, and for reconciliation? Think about Prophet Amos. Prophet Amos is called to denounce hypocrisy. Is worth reflecting upon. I read to you from chapter 5 of the book of Prophet Amos, verses 18 to 24. Woe to you who long for the day of the Lord. Why do you long for the day of the Lord? That day will be darkness, not light. It will be as though a man fled from a lion only to meet a bear, as though he entered his house and rested his hand on the wall only to have a snake bite him. Will not the day of the Lord be darkness, not light, pitch dark, without a ray of brightness? I despise your religious festivals, your assemblies. They are a stench to me. Even though you bring me burnt offerings and grain offerings, I will not accept them. Though you bring choice fellowship offerings, I will not have regard for them. Away with the noise of your songs. I will not listen to the music of your harps. But let justice roll on like a river, righteousness like a never-failing stream. My dear friend in Christ, worship and any sacrifice you make is perfected, is complete only when it is accompanied by acts of love, acts of kindness, acts of justice, acts of forgiveness towards one another. May you grow in love for God and one another. Have a good and godly day.